What is composting? Essentially, composting is just a method we gardeners use to break down yard waste into usable mulch for our gardens. It can be as simple as just a pile of leaves. Eventually, it will decompose. The critical factor in composting is the mixture of the types of composting material. We're looking for a 3-to-1 mixture of carbon to nitrogen. Carbon is just leaves, it's wood, it's cardboard. And nitrogen are grass clippings, garden waste, kitchen waste. Types of cardboard to compost. Just, packing crates. What you're also going to want to do is tear this stuff up into little bits, little chunks, and distribute it within the pile. As you can see, bulk paper, it does decompose, but it just takes longer. Essentially, these are linings. I just line the perimeter of the pile to help hold in the heat and control the moisture content. At my old home, my dad and I gardened for about 50 years. Well, I gardened for about 50 years. My dad passed away in 2005. We started gardening there about 1970. We had a bulk pile. This was just railroad ties sunk 2 feet down into the ground, standing 6 feet tall, in a squared off area behind our barn with chicken wire run along the perimeter. Somehow, we just got the mixture right. It was more trial and error. We really didn't look anything up, the 3-to-1 ratio. At the end of the season, we had usable compost. But, who wants to wait that long? This is the 3-bin composter. This speeds up the process of decomposition. This unit will give me usable compost within 3 months. And then every month thereafter, I'll have another batch of usable compost. This unit measures 4 feet by 4 feet by 4 feet. Do the math. Length times width times height. Each bin is 64 cubic feet. Putting dry leaves in here and grass, I'll top the pile. By the time it gets to the end, it'll be about 2 feet off the ground. So it'll take the 64 cubic feet and bring it down to about 32 cubic feet every month until you run out of leaves. Filling the first bin. It's a 3-to-1 ratio. There's no specific measure. I do about 3 inches of leaves to 1 inch of grass. The carbon in the process is the energy food microorganisms need. The nitrogen is the protein required for growth and multiplication. Water, it needs water to survive. Too much water will drown the microorganisms and slow down decomposition. Not enough water will dry out the pile and slow down decomposition. This is aerobic breakdown. It requires oxygen, air. So we flip the pile to reoxygenate the pile and to adjust the water content. It's also exothermic. It gives off heat. The more heat you can generate, the faster the decomposition. I use temperature as an indicator of when to flip the pile. I chart my temperature against the ambient temperature. And as it starts to fall down, gets below 100 degrees Fahrenheit, that's an indicator of when to flip the pile. The reason why the temperature is falling is because either the pile is too wet, too dry, or it's running out of oxygen. Now, it's easy enough to just reach into a pile and check the moisture content. Essentially looking for moisture content of a well-wrung sponge. This is about what I'm looking for. It will clump together, but it will also easily break apart. So at a glance, you can tell what the water content is in your pile. So if the temperature is still falling, then it's running out of oxygen. That's the time to flip it. What we do is we take the sides, the top, the back, and the front. They go into the core of the next bin. And then the core goes around the outside. Now, if you've got your carbon and nitrogen mixture right in the first bin, you shouldn't need to add more nitrogen in the second bin. By the time that one finishes its process, you will have this, usable compost. This is all my grass, all my garden scraps, all my kitchen scraps, all my cardboard, right there.